Video games.
Video games. Hey guys, welcome back to episode 5. I know it's been a while. I had some crazy stuff going on in my life. My little girl turned 2, and I had a trip to Nebraska where I was shooting a wedding. So, needless to say, I had to put this little charade on the back burner.
You're not cooking. Yeah, dude.
So thank you guys, everybody that's watching this, all of my 33 fans out there. I do appreciate you guys sticking around and waiting for me to throw another one of these up. So today I want to talk to you guys about tips in video game collecting. So right now I'm sitting at about 2,500 plus titles, and I've built that collection in a relatively short time, and all with these specific tips that I want to share with you guys. So this video is for the novice collector, by the way. If you are a hardcore collector, you probably are already doing these hacks. You've already figured out a way to build your collection. But for those that are just starting or trying to get into the retro scene, I wanted to let you know how you can build a collection relatively easy. So without any further ado, let's roll it. Alright guys, so number 1, where do you find video games? Easy. The video game store would be your first spot that you'd want to go check out. But honestly, where you're going to find the best deals is going to be thrift stores, pawn shops, and garage sales. Now, these locations can be anything like a Value Village or a Goodwill. It could be a Ma and Pa thrift store. Pawn shops obviously are littered all over the place. So kind of going in and just seeing what they have for video games give you a good idea of kind of selection in your area and what you might be able to find. And last but not least is garage sales. And here I live in the Seattle area, and we can only do garage sales during the nice weather. So our season runs about May until roughly August or September, and that's when we're going to be able to go out garage sailing. That's where you're going to find some really awesome deals. You'll also strike out a lot too. So kind of a heavy scene out here with a lot of video game collectors. So it's a heavy competition, but if you get it right and you find the right location, you're going to run into some video games. Just you will. So I would check those out. Again, you want to check out your thrift stores, your pawn shops, and garage sales when you get a chance. So next tip is shop often. You have to check these locations out all of the time. So you might not have every day to be able to go shop at the thrift stores or check out the pawn shops, but at least if you can be consistent with how many times you travel to the locations, or if you swing by on your way home from work, check out that stuff, because you are going to find things at a thrift store. They get items donated daily, and sometimes that stuff is sitting there and you might be the only one who's checked it out. So you gotta go often. Also, network with other gamers. So if you know other video gamers or other retro game collectors, meet them, like learn who they are, join groups and forums and find out how to kind of connect with others around you, because they might not be into the same thing that you are for collecting, and if they come across it, they might shoot you a message and kind of let you know what's out there. So it's kind of a good way to have eyes everywhere and be able to kind of build a cool network for retro video games. But I would definitely make sure you network with fellow retro gamers around your area. So networking is great with other collectors, but if you're really looking for some awesome deals, even if you want something that's free 99, the best place is to talk to your family and friends. Literally let them know that you are interested in collecting video games, and there are tons of people within your inner circle of family that are gonna have games that you didn't even know existed. Maybe you've got an uncle that used to be into Atari and he has a collection that he doesn't care about anymore. You can find your way to these games by just asking your friends and family. I've came across some really awesome pieces in my collection because my friends used to be into games now they don't really care as much about it, or they'd like to place it back into a collection where I'm showcasing and working around this stuff all the time. So it gives you an opportunity to kind of come across stuff that would be kind of closer to you than you would think. So I recommend ask your friends or family if they're into video games. All of the collectors are different. There are collectors out there that want things to be pristine or brand new, or everything needs to be complete in box. If you aren't familiar with that, it just means that all of the items that originally came packaged with the game are there when it's being sold or when they pick it up. So a complete in-box item will go for more money, and obviously new is going to be more expensive. So with me on my collection, I collect to play. So with that, I collect games if they're complete in box. That's awesome. But for the most part, all of my retro games like Nintendo, Sega, Super Nintendo, all of that stuff, I don't care if it's loose. And I found a lot of awesome deals by just loose carts. Also, if you don't care about condition. So if it's got some nicks on it or some label damage and you don't care, you're going to find a better deal for it. I've been in a store where it's been $4 or $5 less than it normally retails for, used, just because it has some scratches on it. So if you care and you want to collect to play, then that's where you would go, is make sure that you're finding games that have a little bit of damage. Talk to them, ask them if they don't mind bringing it down a couple bucks because the label's torn. Most people that are collecting for these video games want things to be in really good condition. So if you can kind of skim past that and have it not bother you as much, you're going to find a lot better values and deals out there and help you build a collection a lot faster. All right, so obviously the go-to if you're going to start collecting games is going to be online. You've got your eBay, you've got your Amazon, and you've got GameStop. What's funny is people shun GameStop a lot just because of their business practices, but overall they probably have the best value on used video games. Now their selection isn't huge in the grand scheme of collecting a lot of different genres, but if you're going to look for a deal, you're probably going to find an awesome one on GameStop. What you want to do is you want to try to catch the GameStop sales. So they'll have like a buy two, get one free that happens a couple times a year. And normally that will actually apply towards retro video games. When you're able to order from GameStop, you can get yourself a pretty good deal with those buy two, get one free, especially on higher priced items. But I would say most of the time they're $5 to $10 cheaper than what you'll find on eBay or Amazon, especially when you're going after maybe sought after titles or popular titles. And if you're just getting into collecting, then you kind of have a really, really awesome selection of things to grab, because most of the hardcore collectors probably already own it. Unless they're a reseller, they're not going to be going after that stuff. So I recommend checking out GameStop. I tend to avoid Amazon or eBay unless I'm buying a lot or a bundle, which I'll kind of get into in a second. Bundle or lots. So there are big name collectors and people out there who've been doing this a long time. The way they build their collection is they buy a huge lot and they keep what they don't want, sell the rest to recoup the cost of that. It's a great way to collect if you have enough in the collection and you have enough of a balance on that budget to be able to maintain that type of purchase. Unfortunately, for someone that's just getting into it, you're not going to be able to have either the funds nor the time to be able to flip and resell that stuff back out. But if that's kind of something that you'd like to get into, it is a good way to be able to build a collection quickly. Buy a huge lot, sell off what you don't want, keep the rest. Try it out. It's not for me, but if it's something you want to give a go to, more power to you. At a lot of these locations, like thrift stores and pawn shops, there's coupons. Can you get the newspaper? Because I'd like to check out the coupons. Or there's daily deals. So I recommend making sure that if you're at Value Village or Goodwill, that you're getting yourself a coupon. So when you donate anything off to Goodwill or Value Village, sometimes you'll be able to get a percentage off coupon. And those are great, especially if you find a really good bundle or deal at the locations. 20% off of a game that it might feel a little high price kind of gets it back into a range that you might be comfortable with. So check on the coupons. Also, there's going to be special sticker days where things are discounted, or you're going to have a senior citizen day. So if you have grandma, go ahead and bring grandma on with you and see if you can find a deal out there. Maybe it's a good time for you to spend with your grandmother and you get some video games. Win-win. So I want to talk to you guys about Burnout. So when you collect video games or collect anything, if you're constantly going after the deals and surrounding yourself with this stuff, it is really easy to get burnt out. So you really need to shift your focus into more of a narrow target. So let's say you want to start to collect Sega games, or you want to start to collect Super Nintendo games. Go after that collection and kind of keep yourself on track looking for that stuff, because when your eye and your mind is kind of set on what that collection is going to be, you're going to find yourself coming across that stuff a lot more because you're looking for it. If you're just kind of getting into the game in the first place and you just want to grab some games here, that's fine. But if you're kind of nabbing up everything that you see every time you walk into a thrift store or a pawn shop, you're going to burn out quick. You're going to run out of funds quick. So you just have to be really strategic about what you want to collect for and why you want to collect for it. So I've been in the position where I got really excited about a system and I just collected everything I could find, and then of course later I'm trading it off or selling it because I don't care about it anymore. So you really have to take an opportunity to focus on what you want to play, focus on what you want to enjoy, and will you get use out of it in the future? As the wise Yoda once said, find purpose in games you must. And guys, last but not least, know when to walk away. I've been in situations before where I saw a game and it seemed like a decent deal, even though it might have been a little higher than I wanted to pay. I will find it, and literally 2 or 3 days later, I come across the same thing that is half the cost. So know that you don't have to get it right away. You're going to come across these things more often than not. There's probably 80% of video games that are easy to find. You're going to run across them commonly, especially if you're just getting into collecting. Obviously, there is those select few that are gems or ones that are really, really rare to find. If you find those, of course, pick them up. But in general, you always are going to find a better deal. So do your best to try to refrain and just be smart about the purchase that you're going after. So that's kind of it. So I appreciate you guys hanging out and listening to my tips to building a collection. I've been able to get into this without breaking the bank for the most part. So I recommend that you do your best to follow the tips. If you guys have some awesome tips to share with anybody, please write them down in the comments. Let me know how you've built your collection, or if you're just getting started into it, feel free to ask whatever you'd like. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you do enjoy what I got going on, please think about subscribing, and I appreciate it. Until next time, take care.